Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're dialing in from. And I am super excited to be here today with my guest, Darren Winfield, CEO of Evolution Recruit and Highbridge Talent. Now, they specialize in industrial temp and construction and SaaS. So welcome, Darren. It's so great to have you here on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Katie.
So what we're going to do, Darren, tell us, let's start with your journey, because in the last 12 months, there have been so many things that you've implemented into the business, changes you've made. And I know we were saying earlier when we were just chatting that, 12 months ago, the business was in a different position. You were kind of ticking over, you were plodding along. And now with those systems and processes and changes that you've made in the business, there's been a huge, doubled your revenue and had record quarters over the last 12 months. So we're going to be sharing this journey with our audience today. So tell us in your own words, rather than me adding anything. Yeah, when we first got together about 12 months ago, you came into Centered Excellence World. What was happening for you back then?
Not enough. As I've said, we spoke before, I've run the business for 20 years and the business was plodding. We'd had times of growth many years back. But since then, the business has turned into a lifestyle business. Myself and my business partner weren't challenging each other. And I took the decision just after watching a webinar and you guys reaching out that it's time for me to invest in myself, pull myself out the doldrums. And, I had a bit of despair. I've done this thing for a long time, knew what I was doing, but people in the business weren't benefiting from me and what we've got to offer. And things have just changed. Since I joined the program, we have structure, we have organization, we use data that we didn't used to use. Anyone who's spoke to me in the last 12 months will know that I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I've also realized it doesn't just have to be me who does that. There's people in the team who can help. And by sharing all this positive information, it's just changed the business. I've got two businesses. One had its highest turnover ever, the Highbridge side of the business, which was ticking along and just an add-on at the time because our perm business last year turned over nearly 400 grand from 2 years ago doing £20,000, £25,000. So the growth is phenomenal. And to be talking about a business that's going to turn over £1 million in a couple of years' time, it's something that I would have never considered, 18 months ago, anything like that. So the transformation has been really good.
Excellent. Well, hats off to you. So let's talk about that. So tell us some of the challenges or problems that you were facing, the specifics. What was it that you noticed either was or wasn't happening in your business that you wanted to get fixed?
We probably had too many people doing the old 360 role. So people were doing a bit of everything. We were taking on vacancies that didn't really sit in our specialist area. We were just a generalist agency and didn't say no enough. We took on, yes, we'll agree to that. We were working at low rates. We were working at lower margins. And what we've done in the program, it's just made us realize that if you understand what your offer is, how you serve your customers, how you add value to their business, you can increase your fees, your margins, because the customer values you more. And you also get rid of a lot of the work that we were taking on in the past that didn't really add value to us. And so the team were more motivated because they're working on things they enjoy. They're not trying to do a bit of everything. We have a business development function. We have a delivery function. We have some guy called the CEO who sits above all of it and pretends he knows what he's doing. But everyone, I'd never heard of the phrase working in flow until I joined you guys. And everybody now gets that, and people enjoy their work. It's getting better results. They're all earning more money. It's just made us just look at what we do and how we do it, reassess it, and have a focus.
Yeah. So let's start with that, because there's two things that you talked about there that I think would be really good for our listeners to dive into a little bit more. So you talked about being a generalist in the first place. So what changed for you? Like what was the process that you went through, or what got you to understand that actually, rather than being that GP, you want to be that surgeon?
Yeah, I think just again, the help from the team, yourself, Nikki, and Lucy, and also people in the peer group, the group in that's so important. The people who are maybe having similar issues to us, you realise that you've got to specialise, you've got to work in a niche. When I did the business X-ray at the start and I was looking where my business is, it was everywhere. But I knew I had a particular knowledge in a certain area, in the construction and the tyre world, unbelievably. But I just dedicated some real business development, using things like VAs that we'd not used in the past to do our outreach, to build up a network of people. So we had confidence that when we were working in particular roles, we had the candidates, we had passive candidates rather than going out onto job boards and trying to just find candidates who, so it was just understanding that we could specialize, taking that leap of faith and saying, let's just stop taking everything else on. Let's just work in this little world that we're really good at.
Yeah, great. So for people listening, maybe if they're a generalist, it's like, okay, well, look at, you mentioned there the business X-ray. I mean, that is a process, isn't it, that we do that dives under the bonnet of the business to look at where those roles or where the success lies, because success leaves clues. So you're saying filter down and say, well, where is it that we are really getting the best results? What's the 20% that's giving us 80% of our results? Where are we a specialist? And then you talked about what we call our attraction machine. So you talked about how do we build that business development system or machine that actually makes sure that we have that consistent flow of those VIP candidates, because you're right, quite often they are passive, aren't they? The really unicorn, the great candidates are not always, active on, and they're certainly not on job boards because they don't need to be on job boards. So would you mind sharing a little bit about that process? How did you set Attraction Machine up?
So we reached out to a sourcing company actually overseas that we'd never looked at before, and I decided, this is my target marketplace, my sector, and I asked my VA to just basically get out there, but follow a process, the LinkedIn, the magic messaging that you talk about, having something so the connection message goes out, and if it's responded to, then there's another message, then it'll come back to me, and if someone doesn't respond, you remind people, and it's targeted, it's structured, it's planned. So the connection started to come back in. So I didn't have to worry about doing that, spending all my time wading through LinkedIn. I had somebody else to take that away from me. And it was that kind of advice. You don't have to do everything. And once you start doing everything, you can do much better work because you've got the as you say, the attraction machine via the LinkedIn messaging. So that created my context, but it was just in a certain area. And then there was a follow-up. There was always a simple message. I think I used to over egg things and tell everyone I've been doing this for 25 years. When people don't care really if you do 20, they want to know what you're doing now and how can you help them. So it was just that. It was getting that message out more, but not just doing it yourself, using other resources to help you, drive your business.
Brilliant. Yeah, there's such a great saying actually in a book by Dan Martell, which is you don't hire to grow your business, you hire to buy back your time. And that's really what you're talking about here, isn't it? Is getting very, very strict and clear about where your time is spent and actually using other sources like VAs, EAs, people who are specialists in those sort of more administrative or process orientated tasks that can actually free up your time for you to do that, and then they start to do those processes. So you got clear on your niche, you then got clear on how you were going to build that attraction machine to reach out, engage, nurture, make sure you have that flow, and then talk to us about the change of the 360, because there it's how did you build that conversion and that delivery machine to support doubling your profits?
I think what we did, we had certain people in the team and we realized that they had certain skills. So when I started talking about the program, everyone was going, I want to do the sales, I don't like the service, I don't like the delivery side. Another, I'm not so good on the sales side, but I'm really good with the candidate journey and dealing with the client. So naturally people in the business moved into a specific part of the business. But when we've added into the team, because we've added probably 4 or 5 people to the team last 12 months as well, we've recruited with that in mind. So we've used the talent dynamic. So we look at what people's sort of, the way they think, the way they operate before we offer them a job, to make sure that if they're going to work in a process job, they've got that process sort of skill set. If they're doing a sales job, they've got that sort of profile as well. So there's just all these little extra tools. So when you recruit people, you know, and you can never guarantee things when you're dealing with people, but you've got a fair idea that you're getting the right kind of profile for that role. So there's all these just great little ideas, little things that come out of the program, the advice, just help you how you shape your business, and you recruit with more confidence. So if you bring in people and you know they're going to add value to your team, you're not going to think, right, what we're going to get them to do, a bit of this and a bit of that. No, you're going to do that, and you're going to do that, and then together we support each other. Even my BDMs now, the way they interact with the consultants who are talking to candidates, so they're providing the leads, and it's there's information going backwards and forwards, because in the past the leads might have gone into somewhere in the business, but nothing would happen with them. But now, because the BDMs pick them up, consultants are happy to pass those things on. So it flows, both ways.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you're saying, isn't it? Because I was talking to some people in the industry just this week, and the feel is that right now there's actually that, I use my language carefully, because it depends what market you work in, but where perhaps off the back of COVID and then time period, that we went, didn't we, from job short to then candidate short. And it seems as though in certain markets, certainly, it's going back now to, we need more jobs. Yeah. And so what you're saying here is, well, actually, when you've got people in those specialist areas that love those specialist areas, and therefore they're very successful, they're very good at those types of tasks, it means that whatever unprecedented time or whatever the economic changes in the marketplace or the market shifts, however the landscape is, you've always got that consistent flow of your customer base coming in. Because I think that's quite a big challenge for recruitment businesses and business owners, isn't it? That consistent flow of clients and candidates, those two customers always coming in and coming through. So what other benefits have you seen off the back of that have made a difference for your business? So by changing that model, what difference has that made?
Well, I think people are happier in what they're doing, because they're not doing a bit of everything. They are, if they want to work in the sales sphere, they can go off and do that. They can go off and just keep targeting. But also, because we've gone into more niche areas, they're targeting, they've got to focus on who they target, rather than, looking through the paper like people do and ringing random jobs. It's right. And they also know, because we've now got a candidate pool of highly skilled people, that if they find these roles, these senior roles, they're going to get filled, so they're going to get rewarded. So it just makes everybody work in a more comfortable and confident way. And results have, as I say, results have gone. We've had record month after record month after record month. And it's no coincidence that that's happened since we've come in the program. We've got a focus and a plan, and people like you and Nikki and Lucy sometimes kick me backside for not doing things properly. But I've not had that for so long. Nobody's challenged me, to say, come on, where are your figures? What's your accountability? Why aren't you, doing what you're saying you're going to do? And I'm not perfect, but even I now, we have a figure sheet every day, for recording activity. I fill it in. I've not done one of them for 10 years because I've never had to, but now I see the benefit. And since I've been doing that, results have, they've changed dramatically. More activity, charting things. Everyone has in the business buys into it because they get what it's there for. We're not just giving you figures each month, right? Here's your figures for the month. Oh yeah, that's great. They actually mean something because we're charting it all the time, and looking at the efficiencies of the work we're doing.
It's so interesting you say that, because it's a classic, isn't it, where the focus goes, the energy flows. And also, like you're saying, I think a lot of people maybe that have worked for the wrong organizations in recruitment can see those facts and figures or those numbers, like you say, the data, it can sometimes have been an experience which wasn't very pleasant. And so a lot of business owners are like, I'm not going through that again. I'm not going to, you know, set that up into my business where you're bashing people over the head with these numbers. And, you know, it's like if you're, I don't know, if you're in your car and you don't know that you're running out of fuel, you got a problem. So you have to have visibility, don't you, on that pipeline, and that's really the security, but also the forecasting that numbers can give you. And you're right, they have real meaning when they're used in the right way.
We share this, you know, I'm quite open, and I tell the team what we do, you know, why I've done this. I've invested in us to make us better. And, you know, every time if we have a weekly call or a Q&A session, or I have a coaching session with Lucy, I'll come and talk to it, and they all say how animated I am, because it's just. And sometimes you might have a bad month, and then you speak to somebody else in the group, and it gives you a lift, and you come and share an idea, and it just lifts again. And it's just that. It's that, you know, I've talked about it a lot. There's quite a few people in the group now that, you know, I've become friends with. We share ideas with them. We have a good laugh on the calls, and they just sometimes what about this? This isn't working. Try this, try that, and it's just that sharing of information and backing yourself as well, you know, and going through the process with people who are on the same journey. It's just really good. You know, you do it for yourself. You've got to invest your own time and money into this, but you've also got a support group and a peer group helping you along as well.
Yeah, it's it's interesting, isn't it? If we think in the terms of sport as well, it's like having, isn't it, that peer group, like you're saying, you're playing at a high level, and there's nothing better to support you than having that sort of peer group of, you know, like you're saying, third eyes, but also we learn so much more, I always think, don't we, from the things that I'm going to call them failures. But if you really want to succeed, it's like, okay, well, how many times have I had to pick myself up, and what did I learn from that? So failures are actually the greatest way for us to shift the business to the next level. So you talked a bit about well, first of all, let's talk about results. So what specific results have you seen? What's changed?
Oh, lots and lots have changed. Financially,
in a financial,
in a financial way, you know, the bank balance for the business is so strong, the strongest it's ever been. You know, and I've run a business for 23 years, so we've got that financial freedom to be able to invest in better, you know, CRMs, better technology to help us drivers spend money, bringing people into the business. Where in the past it was always a case of, can we afford to do that? Are we going to take that gamble? My business partner was a bit more of he was more of an accountant, so he was a bit more careful. And it's given us that financial freedom to go and do things. It's given me some financial freedom to book nice holidays, sort of give me the confidence to go away on holiday and know that there's a machine running now, and it doesn't all stop when I go. I used to go on holiday, and I used to come back, and my staff, oh, where have you been? You know, what we're going to do now? Everyone knows what they're doing now. So financially, yeah, really good. And it's just nice to sit down at the end of each month and say to the team, do you realise between us this month we've made 100 grand profit? And just to see everyone's face. And I said, we do that 12 times a year. We're making £1 million, over £1 million a year. You know, and I've not had a conversation like that for a long, long time. We won the biggest contract we've ever had on our temp business, which again, and it proved to us as a business, and we used to think, oh, we're a small little business. We don't think that anymore. But we won the contract, we managed the contract, so everyone in the business now knows we can do that, so we attack different business. We used to shy away from that. Oh, can we find 150 people in a couple of weeks? Oh, no, I don't think we can. So we've proven we've done it. So the team now know they can do it. On the perm side of the business, on Highbridge, we've gone from, as I say, doing an occasional invoice in, because my background's perm, but try to focus a bit on the temp side. But now we bill in 50 grand months, 60 grand months, things that I've never done. And I worked for a corporate company many years ago, and I never did that when I was doing, in that business. So it just proves that you change your mindset and you've got some processes in place. And it's the thing that I'm one of the guys that, there's a process, not a person. And I used to think it's all about the people. The people are important, but you've got to have your processes in place. And it's just completely changed the way we do our business, and the results have been really, really good. Really, really good. Everybody should do it.
I was about to say, so what would you say to somebody that maybe, you know, is experiencing some of those same challenges, or not even challenges, but just emotions that you were having back then? What would you say to somebody? Because, you know, I think people, like you're saying, we quite often can keep ourselves small and self-sabotage, can't we? Because we maybe have, you know, I don't know, a concern about whether we're right, or whether that's going to work for me. You know, what would you say to those people? Because it's not about our program, but it's actually about them getting the help and the access to build, like you say, to build that business to what they want it to be.
Absolutely. It's getting out there, it's believing in yourself, changing mindset, and talk to people and get advice. And I know, you know, you say it's about a program, but it is, because the program's brilliant, because it just makes you look at all the way you run your business. Because I'm guessing anyone who's watching this thinking it's coming on board, probably really good at what they do, and they're not having the best of time. So this makes you look at everything properly, and then refocus your energy, and you'll find that you love what you do. You know, because I got to a point a few years ago when I didn't love what I do, and it became a job rather than running a business. And now I can look at the business in a different way. You know, that sometimes you get stuck in it because you have a difficult customer. But you also know there's other people in the business dealing with these things as well. So just go for it. Get out there and join the program. Talk to the brilliant people, and go on that same journey as me.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for your time, Darren. Is there any passing advice you would want to give that we haven't covered today?
I think just get on the program, go for it. You know, back yourself, talk to people. You'll enjoy the peer group. You'll make new friends, and, you know, help you in business, but help you in life as well. You know, when I talk to Lucy, sometimes Lucy's like my life coach and my mentor and everything. And those hours I spend with her are, you know, brilliant. And we always come out of something with a new focus or a new plan. And there's so much information you guys have got. It's just, it's revolutionized my business. So revolution of evolution, if you like.
That's it. I love it. We've got a strap line now. We've got a strap line. Well, brilliant. Darren, thank you so much. And I hope if you're listening to this conversation with Darren, I hope you've walked away believing that you can do the same, because it is 100% available to anyone. So ask yourself, what's one thing you're going to walk away from this conversation that you can implement into your business? And then ask yourself this, okay, what's the first step that I'm going to take? Because that really can be as simple as it needs to be to get you going, to take your business into the right direction. And if you do want shifts in your business with less time and energy, simple systems and tactics, like we talked about today, that will monumentally grow your business, create more abundance with less stress and work, then please reach out to us. We are here to help you. So, Darren, thank you so much for being with us today. And I will be back again very soon with yet another episode, another hero in the world of recruitment. So if you've been joining us, thank you very much for joining us. Take care, and I will see you soon.
Thanks, Katie. Bye-bye.